A while back, I reviewed the FalconEyes F7, which was actually one of the earlier of many pocket-style LED lights that I tested and reviewed, and it was a really great light. It was a solid light, came with great accessories and things like that, just a really nice light, as most of the lights that I've tested from FalconEyes are. Not quite as long ago, I reviewed the F7 Fold, which was an updated version of the F7, and it also had two of them connected together. I've gone ahead and actually disconnected them because the fold function wasn't all that useful for me, but these are actually really solid upgrades from the original F7 despite that. Well, now we've got the F7 II, which from as much as I can tell so far is basically similar to the upgraded version you get in the F7 Fold, but in a single light style. And this comes in $100 cheaper than the F7 Fold and only $20 more than the original F7, which came out a couple years ago. So I think it's going to be a great bargain, but we're going to get it unboxed. We're going to take a look at it and see how similar it is to the F7 Fold, which is a solid light, and just what it has to offer all around. So let's get into it. Hey, what's up? I'm Scott and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, thank you for watching and please do consider subscribing for more no-nonsense tutorials and reviews. So as usual with my little pocket LED type reviews, I'm not going to spend a lot of time showing you, ooh, look at this cool way you can use it, look at that cool way you can use it, because I think the great thing about these little pocket LEDs is just that they can do whatever you need them to do. When you need a little light here or a little light there, you need to hide something in a small space, these are the lights that you turn to. And so as far as light output, you know, it is what it is. It's a small little panel and they're all going to be basically the same in that effect. So I'm going to spend time talking about what the kit includes in terms of accessories, because that does make a big difference sometimes. We're going to take a look at how easy it is to use, how stable things like the app are. We're going to talk about, of course, the light quality output. My FalconEyes C800 here will do some tests, and I'll actually put those results up on screen right now. Why not? Why waste your time? You can check that out. You can pause it if you need to, but for now, we're going to get into the box and see what's included in this kit with the brand new F7 II. All right, just some quick specs before we open the box. If you want to skip through this, I'll put the timeline down below, of course. This is a 12-watt light, and it goes from 2500 to 9000 K, a fairly wide range of white light. And with that 12-watt output, you should get about 2.5 hours, or just under 2.5 hours on full power with the built-in battery, which is also USB-C 3.0, Quick Charge 3.0 compatible. So they say the lux, the output of this is 5,230 lux at 0.3 meters. Of course, that's very close. We'll go ahead and put some readings on screen as well for the actual output of the light. But from what I've seen in terms of the readings that they put on their website, this is on the higher end of these little pocket LEDs in terms of how bright the output is. Of course, they claim it's got high CRI and stuff like that. We've already taken a look at that by this point in this video. It's 365 grams. I haven't touched it yet, but I expect it to be full on metal. And it does have a magnetic design where you can slap it onto something metal if you need to mount it onto a wall or a pole or something like that. We'll also check how strong that is, if it's enough to hold up to that 365 grams, even on a round pole, like a C-stand, for example. And then you've got the DCell Light mobile app. And again, it's from what I've seen before using FalconEyes apps, it's pretty full featured. You've got control over all of the functions of the light. Of course, you've got things like color picker mode, which is nice in some situations. So I'll take a look at that really quickly and we'll show you some highlights of it, but I'm not gonna spend a whole lot of time. I'm just gonna make sure that it works. Let's get into the box. And there is the light. And now in my left hand here, this is the F7 Fold, or half of the F7 Fold. Besides a little bit of color difference in the metal, it looks nearly identical. So again, this is the new F7 II. This is half of the F7 Fold. Let me turn this over. There we go. We got the same mount there. We've got nothing there, nothing there. And then on the other side, we've got the controls. The controls on the side look all exactly the same. And this even has these little sections here that are filled in where you've got the gaps from what was originally the hinge between the two parts on the F7 Fold. So it looks to me like they used exactly the same body. Switch over to the other half of the F7 Fold here, and you can see that now it actually is even more similar. We have this same little color wheel there. Maybe the printing, the branding and stuff is a little bit different, but generally speaking, pretty much identical. Looking at some of these specs too, the battery, there's a 3800 milliamp hour battery in both of these. Of course, this says ×2 because we've got two halves. I really think that these are basically going to be the same light. We'll do some tests to see if the output and everything is the same or not, but if you've seen my F7 Fold review, chances are this is going to be fairly repetitive. Just cut it in half and that's what you got. So we've also got the carry case here. In the front, you have a little bit of a stretchy section here, a nice little pocket. You could probably throw the cables or something in there. You've got two zippered sections. So there's one, looks like it could be for the light. There's the other, and we got a bunch of stuff in there. You got a little magic arm type mount there. Cool. You've got a typical little cold shoe mount there. Got some silica gel. And you've got the charging cable. So that's that. On the back of these cases, you do also get this little carabiner if you want to clip it to the outside of a bag or something that's really convenient to have. Ooh, there goes a bunch of the silica gel. Moving on, another thing that I really like about these FalconEyes lights is that they come with both the diffuser and the grid. Now the grid of course is great for light control and it does seem pretty rigid. It's thick enough to hold its shape, and looking at just how much I can see through here at an angle, it looks like this will be pretty good in controlling the light spill actually. So we'll get that on there and we'll show you the differences with and without these modifiers. You also got a little diffusion there. It doesn't look like there's going to be a whole lot of space between the light and the diffusion, but it should be enough to break up that multiple shadow pattern that you get from these little LED diodes. There's so many of them on here. That'll probably be enough to break that up and give you a little bit of a softer light. And that's about it. So I feel like I already know this light. Like I said, it looks nearly identical to the F7 Fold, but let's just take a quick look at how it works. So you've got these buttons and dials on the side here. The top button, of course, is for power. If you hold that down, it will turn on, and luckily we've got battery. I just took it out of the box. After it's powered on, that button will serve to cycle through the different modes, the scene modes, the RGB modes, the gel modes, things like that. And then you can go back to the CCT, which is your white light mode. This first function dial is clickable, so if you push it, it will highlight either the color temperature, the green magenta shift. It's nice to see control of that on here. And then it will also de-highlight something, so that way you don't accidentally switch it. Only turning that won't accidentally change your settings unless you have something highlighted by clicking into it, which is actually nice. I like that. So again, you've got 2500K up to 9000K, and that will go pretty quickly, but you've got 50K increments all the way from one end to the other. And if you hold it down, it goes pretty quick. You can't see any light because it's on 0% right now. So we're going to use the dial under the function dial to adjust the intensity. Very smooth, and it goes all the way from 1% all the way up to, of course, 100% in 1% jumps. Very, very smooth, nice control there. And that's all there really is to it. Again, jumping over to that magenta, green magenta shift, you can see here that you can go in one direction or the other to give your light a little bit of a green or magenta shift. And why would you want that? If you're mixing lights, other lights might not always be perfect. You can use that to try and match if you have a light that skews one way or the other. Of course, you want to match that if it's existing ambient light or another LED. Either way, pressing that set button to jump into next is the HSI mode. Again, it's going to work pretty much the same. Click that function button to jump between different parameters there, the hue, the saturation. Let's go up to 100% saturation first, so you can really see the color. And then using the dial here, as always, to adjust the intensity. So again, with color mode, you still can go down to 1%, and then of course up to 100. Let's jump through the different colors here so you can just see how that works. Very simple, very straightforward. HSI mode is very, very intuitive. You can see things change as you change it, and you don't really have to know any technical things like the combination of R, G, and B values to get the color you want. Pressing set again, we'll jump into the scene modes. Again, there's 20 scene modes in here. It's all the typical modes. If you've ever looked at any light recently, they all have these built into them. But you can see here that you can adjust the speed and the intensity. So let's turn one on. Click again to select the scene. Let's go over to lightning. Click again to adjust the speed. You can go from 0 to 10. We'll go up to 10 just so you can see. I'm going to adjust the intensity a little bit. So actually this light coming out, there's your lightning. So with these special effects, the main thing that I want to point out here is just that you have adjustment for speed and intensity. And that's it. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Not nothing, not crazy detail control, but it's a very average, in a good way, very average level of control, and you've got a good range of special effects. But let's move on. Next up is RGB mode. Again, very straightforward. If you use this select button, it will go through the different RG and B controls, and you can use that same dial to adjust what you need to adjust. In this mode, it seems like the intensity dial does nothing. So the intensity is going to be determined by the value that you dial in for R, G, and B. It seems as you dial in more, you're getting more of that particular color, of course. So in this mode, you don't have direct control over the intensity. In HSI mode, you do. That's one of the big differences. Click it again, and you are on your gels. Let's increase the intensity so you can see the color there. So L gel is for Lee gels. So if you want to emulate a particular Lee gel, or if you have one on set you want to match, you can do that. You've got the numbers here. Clicking that again will highlight that setting, and you can jump through some different ones. Press the set button again, you get R gel, which is now Roscoe gel. So again, you've got the code there. If there's something that you want to match, something you want to emulate, you can do that. There's a bunch built into here. And again, I really do like actually that you can click this function button to deselect whatever parameter you're adjusting. So that way you don't accidentally bump it and change what you've set. It's a really good little small detail. Push it again and you can reset things if you need to reset things, and it shows your ID. This is going to be useful when you need to connect to the mobile app. Click it again and we're back into CCT mode. So like I said, I've used a lot of FalconEyes lights, including tube lights, including one that's almost identical to this, and it feels very, very familiar in terms of the level of control, the level of the quality and everything like that. Very, very nice lights. It's built really well. I will show you once more now. I've already shown it, but I will show you again now. The results in terms of the light quality for the CCT mode, especially in tungsten and daylight settings. And I will show you in terms of the lux output and compared to maybe a couple other lights on the market, just so you can see where it stands in terms of pure brightness. Again, on full power, this will last you about 2 or 2.5 hours with the built-in battery, quick charge, 3.0 compatible. I will also show you a couple examples of using the magnet to mount this to something metal, something flat, but also something round like a pole, like a C-stand, both vertically and horizontally, I guess, under a pole that's going across, just to see how strong that magnet is, if it's enough to hold the weight of this light. And now to finish this up, let's just take a quick look at the mobile app. All right, so the app's called Desal Light, and this is actually the same as their tube light that I've recently reviewed and I showed through the app. So I recommend you watch that video too, because I do run through the app in that video as well. But we're gonna go ahead, I have those two tube lights right now still listed here, but I'm gonna go ahead and click plus to add one more device, as you can see there. So you can see the ID on here is 08E9. So we've got two in here. I'm actually using as my rim light here another FalconEyes light, so that's why the other one is showing up there. But we're gonna go ahead and choose that light and click plus to add it to our list. Once we've got the check mark, it is now connected. We'll go back to our devices, and you can see the green tab means that this one is on and connected. So just choose that to jump into it. Before that, we'll also hold this down for a couple of seconds. If you want to edit the name, for example, if I want to name this F7 II, I can do that. You can delete it from this list. You can see some information about it in terms of, details, whatever you want to see. But click it to jump into the control. You can see a little bit of light under here now. So we've got HSI mode up first. Just drag it around. Simple. It'll go to the color that you select. That's all there is to it. You can also tap these numbers if you want to dial something in manually. Saturation 100. Sometimes it's a little bit tricky to get exactly where you want with this dial, so it's nice to have that control as well. You've got intensity control over here, but of course you can also tap that and dial it in exactly as you want. You can turn it on and off from here. You can also slide this over to add more, or to switch to a different device if you have multiple devices connected, or if you have some groups made with multiple lights. Very, very simple there. Up at the top now, we've also got your RGB control. Very straightforward. Again, dial in each of your values for RG and B. You've got your Lee filters, you've got your Roscoe filters, and then down the bottom you can switch over to CCT mode. We've got some presets. You can also control it with a slider, intensity, your green, magenta shift you can control from here. You can go to scene modes, and you've got all of those scene modes we've already taken a look at again in that tube light video, and it's the same here. Like we said, you've got 20 different effects. You can customize their speed, their intensity, pretty straightforward. You've got all the standard ones there. You've also got the music mode in this app. I've never really used it, but it's supposed to respond to music. I don't have any iTunes music in my phone. Picture is the color picker. So if I go ahead and highlight the red color on this case, there we go, we've got red. And sometimes, depending on the saturation or the reflectance of whatever you're taking a picture of, this is a little bit tricky to do sometimes, but it is a cool way to kind of get close at least to different colors that you have in your scene. Maybe if you want to give a highlight that looks like the color of something else, whatever your purpose is, you can use that, and it's fun. I think if you really want to get exact results, exact replication of a particular color, it's better to go in and manually do it. But this can be fun and quick and easy, and you can of course also pull in pictures from your camera roll if you want to do that and highlight colors within that picture. And that's pretty much it. Let's go back to, let's say, daylight, for example. It's very quick and easy. And also, this app is incredibly easy to get up and running each time you turn a light on and off again. So, like I said, I still have these other lights in here from when I reviewed it, whatever, a week or two ago. And it's so easy to get those connected again. If I turn them on, they're here. Just click it and I'm already controlling it. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to jump into my phone's settings or anything. It's actually really, really quick and easy to do that and to use this app. Very good app, and it works pretty much bug-free as far as I can tell. So I think we've covered pretty much everything in this video. Hopefully it was informative, but if you do have any remaining questions about this light, let me know. As for my personal thoughts on it, I did like the F7 Fold quite a lot, except for that folding design. Again, I didn't feel like it was really all that useful. It was more useful to me as a single light, so I separated it, and this is just one more of pretty much the same light, which I'm happy to have because it is a very nice light to use, and I have used it both personally and professionally. I like it. It's built well. It's got all the features you could want, and there's really not much left wanting now in this newest edition from FalconEyes. So I highly recommend you go check it out. Pricing is good on this light for what it has to offer, the brightness, the quality, everything like that. But if you have any other questions, comments, leave them down below. If you liked it, share it, thumbs up, all that good stuff. And as always, thank you for watching.